And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for JayZ. JayZ, you're watching. I know you're watching because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know, you got people calling me. Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. The way my job works on the internet, everybody's going to be clipping, sharing on TikTok. Watch this.
Prince's final social post wasn't just a warning. It read like a death sentence, and the people he was calling out felt it coming fast. In the months before his 2016 tragedy, Prince was tracing a pattern of alleged manipulation tied to Jay-Z and Beyonce's empire, zeroing in on Tidal and the business web around it. Insiders say he was gearing up to show how the network, fronted by that streaming platform, was allegedly built on forged deals, silenced creators, and contracts meant to outlast the artists themselves. 6 days after hinting his fans weren't safe, the man who fought for musicians' rights was gone. After his passing, a quiet legal fight snowballed into something massive.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
In July 2024, the Prince estate filed heavy court papers accusing Tidal and Roc Nation of falsifying and backdating documents to grab control of more than 500 songs. According to the estate, this wasn't some minor licensing squabble. It looked like an alleged criminal operation designed to rewrite history, forge ownership, and cash in on a grieving legend's work. The platform that promised to protect artists may have used his death to scoop up his life's catalog, they claim. The twist stings even more because Prince wants back Tidal loud and proud.
The business, as far as being a black man that was rich in this business at 18 years old, had already did his first $1 million contract, had already broken records, was determined that he didn't want to be like anybody else, was so great of a guitar player that black people just stopped caring about guitar, and he got left out on a limb and somehow still had to create his way out of that.
In 2015, he praised Jay-Z's service for respecting real musicians and saw it as a safe harbor away from corporate control. He believed Jay-Z was riding the same mission he'd pushed since the 90s when he wrote "slave" on his face to protest label contracts. But insiders now say that trust got flipped on him. At the core sits a document called the Equity Term Sheet, which Tidal claims gave lasting control over hundreds of recordings, while Prince's own side disputes that hard. During negotiations, Phaedra Ellis-Lampkins told investigators her messages with the company don't match the agreement Tidal showed in court. Big red flag right there. The estate's lawyers say the contract was fabricated and backdated to July 2015, months before Prince's death, to make it look legit.
After that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious.
If that's true, Tidal's ownership claim caves in. So the chilling question hits. If Prince didn't sign those papers, who did? Behind that mystery sits a bigger picture. A possible cover-up to lock down a billion-dollar catalog by any means, they allege. After Prince passed in April 2016, Tidal began streaming his entire catalog, from early classics to unreleased vault cuts. Yet filings from NPG Records say none of it was authorized. The claim is Tidal rushed the uploads, betting the estate would be too overwhelmed to fight back. For months, Prince's music poured across the platform, reportedly pulling in millions, while his heirs couldn't even get into key accounts. Cold move, if proven true. Jay-Z fired back the next year with Caught Their Eyes on 444, framing himself as Prince's confidant without naming the case, saying they spoke eye to eye and he alone understood the wishes. To the estate, that sounded less like a defense and more like a rewrite of the story, they argue. The filings Jay-Z waved off as greed flag multiple inconsistencies between the supposed deal and every verified record of Prince's communications. And the timing of those lyrics landing right after the estate's lawsuit struck many as a taunt, not a tribute. At the center of the backlash stood Lawndale McMillan, Prince's longtime lawyer, whom Jay-Z accused of seeing green through purple eyes. And McMillan fired back hard.
And it was pretty much said like, Jay doesn't really want awards. Well, he go to the Grammys.
Right.
He you know, come into the black-owned spaces. Let's figure out how to work together so that way we have the relationship when it matters, not when it's convenient for you and your image. Because they all call us when the story.
Managing several of Prince's siblings, he reminded the public he helped Prince remove the slave protest from his face and defend his autonomy. He insisted Jay-Z's companies were trying to control what Prince spent a lifetime protecting, the right to decide how his work was used. Macmillan's version matches the estate's. There was no binding deal giving Tidal full rights, only a short-term streaming arrangement for one album. Behind the statements lurked a darker rumor Prince shared with confidants in early 2016, they say. He feared powerful figures were selling creative freedom while trapping artists in impossible contracts. And he mentioned private gatherings where newcomers felt pressured to sign away publishing or prove loyalty through tests. Some of those names, he warned, were tied to the same inner circle said to influence Tidal. Whether provable or not, the claims cast a harsh light on the secrecy around his final months, and the July 2024 lawsuit reignited those suspicions. Subpoenas seek internal communications among Tidal executives, Roc Nation attorneys, and Ellis Lampkins, messages the defendants refused to release under a common interest doctrine. Legal experts note that phrase usually covers joint defenses, not routine commercial contracting, hinting the withheld messages could reveal coordination among multiple companies to fake Prince's signature, if proven. The estate calls those emails the smoking gun, while Jay-Z's camp tries to reframe the story by stressing their claim that Prince personally wanted his music with Tidal. Yet insiders say that narrative cracked in late 2015 when Prince saw Tidal had already uploaded works beyond the agreed album. Those same insiders say Prince felt betrayed and cornered, and he was preparing legal action when he posted that haunting message on April 15, 2016, just when you thought you were safe. Within 6 days, news from Minneapolis said the icon was found in an elevator at Paisley Park, and the official line called it an accidental overdose of prescribed substances. But many close to him couldn't accept that explanation. They remembered how Prince installed new security cameras, fired staff he believed were leaking information, and told visitors the elevator symbolized dark forces in the industry. When Jay-Z later referenced the elevator, "We are never going to let the elevator take him down," some heard an eerie nod that he understood exactly what Prince meant. Since then, the fight has only escalated. The estate's filings accuse Tidal of continuing to profit from Prince's catalog long after being told to remove it. At the same time, new whistleblowers describe how internal accounting allegedly concealed royalties owed to other artists as well. These revelations echo Prince's long-standing warnings that streaming platforms can act like new gatekeepers, selling the myth of artist ownership while keeping control tight. The battle mirrors a bigger power struggle in music, where Jay-Z, once praised as a fairness-first entrepreneur, is portrayed in legal documents as the kind of mogul Prince spent years resisting. The irony cuts deep for someone who made independence his brand, because being accused of forging deals to seize another artist's masters hits the heart of everything he claimed to stand for. And the lingering question won't die. Why were these alleged fabrications so important to bury? Insiders ask. People close to the estate point to dollars and leverage. Control of Prince's unreleased vault, rumored to hold thousands of songs, could make Tidal crucial again as its market share slips. For Jay-Z and Beyoncé, whose combined wealth leans on streaming and publishing, losing that catalog would be a heavy blow. But the mystery stretches beyond contracts. Analysts of the timeline see patterns that feel bigger than business. In his final weeks, Prince's digital trail shows rising secrecy, canceled appearances, cryptic talk of energy vampires, and hints at battles too risky to name publicly. He seemed to know time was running out, and whether that fear was real or cleverly pushed on him is still unclear. What is clear is this: his warning wasn't metaphorical. It was a breadcrumb trail showing he'd stepped into something he wasn't supposed to see. As the 2024 filings keep pulling up internal memos, delayed transfers, and unsigned documents tied to Tidal's leadership, the scope looks bigger than anyone guessed. This is less about basic music rights and more about who controls legacy catalogs and the story that gets told about them. Prince's message wasn't aimed at one company or one star. It was about what happens when real creative independence threatens an empire built on ownership and access. Follow those lines back to his sudden tragedy at Paisley Park. And one question still won't let go. Was his silence the price of what he found, or the start of a reckoning that's still moving in the shadows? His tragedy didn't just quiet him, it blurred the paper trail, and some say benefited the very people he was scrutinizing. In the weeks that followed, Jay-Z's legal team invoked the common interest doctrine, a low-profile but powerful move that let them withhold internal emails between Tidal, Roc Nation, and Prince's former representative, Phaedra Ellis Lampkins. On paper, it read like a standard legal shield, but behind closed doors, it functioned like a wall around whoever allegedly drafted those forged contracts. It worked too. The communications that might have proven fraud disappeared into confidentiality claims, and no one outside that circle has seen them since. The doctrine was meant to protect co-defendants with a shared defense, yet here it turned into a full-blown fortress of secrecy. Insiders say those emails could have shown who actually drafted the equity term sheet, the document at the heart of the forgery claims. Without them, the estate was half blind, forced to lean on circumstantial evidence. While Jay-Z's lawyers kept saying Prince authorized everything, turning delay, denial, and dense procedure into the perfect smokescreen until the public tuned out. McMillan wasn't about to stay quiet. Prince's longtime attorney knew exactly what had been agreed before the artist passed, and he became a key witness. Jay-Z then called him out in Caught Their Eyes, painting him as greedy and disloyal. But in Billboard and other interviews, McMillan clapped back, calling that story a lie and setting the record straight. He reminded folks he helped Prince escape oppressive contracts, the same fight Tidal claimed to champion. So to many, the attack on McMillan looked strategic, not personal. Smear the messenger, bury the message before it hits court, simple as that. Then McMillan's warning started landing. By late 2017, the estate said they'd recovered internal emails that appeared to show Tidal contracts were backdated. But days before court experts could review them, the estate's servers got breached, wiping years of correspondence, including those crucial attachments. No one was identified behind the hack, but the timing was too sharp to ignore. It hit the same week Roc Nation's lawyers moved to shut down further document requests. According to one insider familiar with the case, it was digital sabotage disguised as coincidence, and it didn't stop there. Things kept popping up in the shadows. Over the next few years, smaller estates without Prince's global reach started spotting the same weird paperwork moves, they say. Former reps for lesser-known soul and R&B acts told reporters they found duplicate contracts in old files that mirrored the formatting and phrasing of the disputed Tidal papers. In several cases, signatures looked off or seemed lifted from older documents, and a pattern emerged. Posthumous catalog controls sliding toward the same streaming outfit again and again, under banners like exclusivity and artist empowerment. Those discoveries sketched a bigger picture. Fast! According to insiders, Tidal wasn't just fighting over Prince, it was allegedly refining a playbook, locked down rights from deceased or inactive artists, then claimed the deals were wrapped while they were still alive. It created the look of legitimacy while turning priceless catalogs into long-term digital assets, while many estates lacked the cash to fight, and the public, overwhelmed by non-stop headlines, moved on. People who pushed back felt heat. McMillan's name took repeated hits in the press, painted as opportunistic or unreliable, while Ellis Lampkins, who once cooperated with Prince's family, bowed out of public comment after what friends describe as legal pressure from multiple sides. Even some members of Prince's estate stepped back, spooked by rising costs and quiet warnings rippling through the industry, and by the first hearings, the narrative had flipped. Jay-Z cast as a misunderstood visionary while Prince's defenders got framed as greedy heirs. A textbook switch-up. Meanwhile, new whispers tied the same tactics to other major artists. A former Roc Nation associate told a podcast in 2023 that similar contract adjustments surfaced in talks over other high-value catalogs, including some from performers who passed unexpectedly. None of these claims are proven, but they echo what Prince's estate says it uncovered, almost beat for beat. One attorney close to the matter said that whenever an estate questioned altered paperwork, the pushback hit the same wall. The common interest doctrine, the very shield that kept Prince's truth locked away. Look closer, and the frame widens fast. Jay-Z and Beyonce's empire is famed for tight image control. Leaks countered, rumors rerouted, narratives managed with precision, critics say. When Jaguar Wright and other insiders raised alarms, they were brushed off as unstable. And when songwriters like Tiffany Red alleged creators silencing through NDAS, the spotlight barely flickered. Put those pieces next to Prince's saga, and they stop feeling like random gossip. They read like fragments of one pattern. A network that protects power, shapes stories, and wipes out threats, according to these accounts. The filings, the missing evidence, the sudden quiet from key voices, they connect like tracks in fresh snow. Each line leads back to a platform that promised liberation but delivered control, and to icons whose legacy, some argue, depends on keeping questions buried. Meanwhile, the estate's suits crawl along as details vanish in the fog. Emails lost, witnesses retracting, archives corrupted. Maybe that's why the industry still whispers about what Prince spotted in those final days. He wasn't just guarding his songs. He was mapping a system built to outlive its targets, they say. Files that vanished might have blown the doors open, but someone made sure the world never saw them. Now, whenever another estate reports missing paperwork or surprise rights transfers, people ask whose fingerprints are on the switch. Prince wasn't the first name in these stories. And if the playbook holds, he won't be the last. What do you think? Coincidence or the cost of challenging power? Thanks for watching. Drop a comment, like, share, and subscribe to Clout Buzz for more. And remember, in this business, the loudest silence can hide the darkest truth.